Hello everybody, how's it going, and welcome back to another video on Assassin's Creed. Welcome back to the Advent Calendar, folks, the series where I upload every single day in December. I do different videos, we do a bunch of different stuff, we're having a lot of fun. If you want to check out the rest of the series, if you have fun in this video, then you can do. The link to the playlist is in the description. Now, the last tier list video we did on PlayStation exclusives did really nicely. People enjoyed it. We had a good time. I had fun making it. And so I thought it made sense to capitalize on that and do another damn tier list. But this time, of course, on the obvious franchise. Now, normally when I do these tier lists for Assassin's Creed, I sit down and I piss people off with it by dragging and putting everything that's AC1 to Revelations and Black Flag in S tier, and everything else, it goes right at the bottom, in F tier. It's all bad, you know? That's the joke, that's the meme, it's funny. However, in this video, we're going to take it seriously. This is going to be the definitive Assassin's Creed tier list for every single game and the side games you're ever going to find on YouTube. From an OG, old school AC fan, alright? I fell in love with these games in AC1, 2007. I fucking loved Assassin's Creed in 2007. Adored it. I love what Assassin's Creed stood for when it was only Assassin's Creed. There was none of the other bullshit. Nothing else was there. No Ezio, no nothing. The first game. I loved it. Therefore, I'm the purest and best Assassin's Creed fan you're going to find. No one's better than me. I'm the best. But I want to take this seriously. Let's do it. Alright, first up we've got Assassin's Creed. The very first Assassin's Creed. Now, this was a game I adored when, like I said, it was the only one. And I loved this game. And for that simple fact, the fact that to this day I still love it, it still holds up in my eyes. I adore this game for everything that it does. It's player control when it comes to the parkour, allowing you to actually have a free range of movement, choose what you want to do. The fact that its missions are all very, very linear, except they're also open as well. It's a linear game set in an open space. It's incredible. You have these cities to play around in, even though the game is a linear game. It's a wonderful design philosophy, and I think it's fantastic. The story as well, my god, the music, atmosphere, perfect. Great game, S tier. Now we've got Altair's Chronicles. Now, I do actually like this game. Is it on the same level as AC1? No, it's not. I like it because the story was very interesting, very intriguing. I like the way it plays into history with the Battle of, like, Acre and everything. I think it's a very interesting concept, especially because it came out on a DS as well. You can't exactly do a lot with it. Overall, I think it's a good entry into the Assassin's Creed franchise. Is it amazing? Is it revolutionary? No. But it's good. It's solid. It doesn't do anything egregious. It's, at worst, a little bit boring at points. But overall, the story kept me engaged when I played this for the first time. So, I'm going to put it in good. It's a good game. Good. Bloodlines. Bloodlines I actually don't like as much as Chronicles. The main reason being I think Chronicles didn't try to do as much as Bloodlines did because it knew what it was. It was a DS game. It was never going to stand up to AC1 or AC2 or whatever. It was never going to stand up to one of those. So it just tried to be what it was, which was a side game. Bloodlines tries to be a bit more of an AC1. And I think that's great, but it does fall down in a lot of areas. It has aged not too well. However, there is some incredible writing in Bloodlines. There are a few scenes that are really, really good. There's some conversations between Maria and Altair where you see their relationship growing. You see Altair changing Maria's mind and Altair learning things from Maria too. There's a lot of philosophical discussions about what it means to be an assassin, what it means to be a Templar. This dates back to the franchise's inception. This is the second thing they pretty much released. Bloodlines released alongside AC2. This is far more philosophical than AC2 was, far more in line with AC1. I really like the writing side of Bloodlines, but the gameplay and everything does let it down. So I reckon we're going to go in good with that. Probably alongside on par with Chronicles, mainly because the writing in Bloodlines is a lot better, a lot more interesting, but the gameplay is just not very fun at all. Whereas Chronicles just sort of lets you, you know, it's a side-scrolly game, it's whatever, it does what it does, alright? Assassin's Creed 2, I mean, what else can you say? It's the first of the Ezio trilogy. We're introduced to Ezio Auditore. It's a perfect sequel to the first game. It builds off of it, it grows concepts. Sure, it got rid of some things, definitely some things that maybe I would have liked to have it retained, such as the way that social stealth worked, the way that guards detected you, the notoriety system being part of the actual story itself, progressing as you went along, making cities harder to navigate the further into the game you got. There's a lot of things from AC1 that I love that aren't in AC2, but AC2 for the most part is a huge improvement on AC1 in a lot of aspects, and it stays true to what is Assassin's Creed in a narrative sense. S tier. AC2 Discovery is... I don't have much to say. This is D tier. D tier, E tier. It's whatever. Like, it's just so, like, no. It sucks. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, my favorite Assassin's Creed game. We know it's going in S tier. beautiful game. The open world, the best city we've had in Rome, the different districts that you can explore, the modern day, the way it's integrated into Ezio's story, the way that Ezio's story isn't just an upfront plot, but has a lot of character development that happens sort of behind the scenes that you don't really notice, but is sort of subtly told to you. The way they build side content, the fact that the world and the open world and the stuff you can do in it is so engaging and thoroughly thought through that it links into the main plot. Brotherhood, just so good. Revelations, another one that's one of my all-time favorites. It's my favorite story in an Assassin's Creed game, so I mean that tells you enough. Not quite as good as Brotherhood in the open world department. Some of the gameplay is not quite as strong as its predecessors necessarily, but it's still a very, very solid entry and keeps the core themes of what was important to Assassin's Creed while writing the greatest story, the greatest Assassin's Creed story, one of the greatest stories ever told in video games. It's beautiful from start to finish. Darby did an incredible job. The soundtrack from Lorne Balfe and Jesper Kid, just, oh, it's such triumphant, perfect, lovely. Get in there, S tier. Assassin's Creed 3. Now, you guys know I don't really like this game too much, but if I was actually ranking on a ranking list, other than just saying, it sucks, where would I actually put it? I think for AC3, where I would go as of 2021 is C tier. Now, the reason I've done that is because it says 50-50. And AC3 is a very 50-50 game for me, because there are so many moments that I love in AC3. Everything with Hafer. There's a few modern day conversations that I really, really like. It also has nice music in some places. There's a lot of little things in the gameplay that I do like, but then on the flip side, I cannot stand Connor. I think he just is a terribly written character, just inconsistencies, no character growth, nothing. The modern day, the way it ends, the way it's rushed, the focus of the modern day as well, not being on mystery, intrigue, platforming, character growth, it's just assassin stuff. It's just what I can do in the Animus reskin, which is not the point of modern day. Modern day should be a different game, a different focus. Why do I want to do in the modern day what I've just been doing as Connor for 6 hours? There's no point. Let me do something different as Desmond. That's sort of the point. That's the way Brotherhood did it. The way they take away from parkour, everything's a lot more automated. I don't like the setting. Revolutionary America, not cool setting, boring setting, bad. It's brown and it's bad. No. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation is such a boring fucking game. Yes, it is Assassin's Creed. Yes, it has little precursor bits in there. Those things are somewhat interesting the first time you run through the game, not so much the second time or the third time. Liberation has a lot of interesting aspects that aren't really utilized properly, like the disguise system. I would probably put Liberation in D tier. I mean, D tier is called boring. It's like, yep, boring. I don't know why this is all sort of French as well. I don't know what that's about. It's made by a French person. Thank you. I think D tier just because, yes, it is boring. It does hold some Assassin's Creed elements that are, like, competent, but overall, it's a pretty boring game. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. This game is a terrific game. It's one of the most Assassin's Creed games we've ever had. A lot of people don't understand why, and you just stay tuned. When we get to it eventually, 2023 probably, 10 years later for Black Flag, when we do that video, I will explain to you why. I will get into the nitty gritty. If you already know, you know. I don't need to explain to you. But for those that don't know, this game is the most Assassin's Creed game since AC1. It's a game literally about the Assassin's Creed. It's not about the Assassins or the Templars or that war or about killing. Like, it's about the Assassin's Creed. That's the whole game is about the Creed. And we haven't had a game like that since AC1. AC1 and Black Flag are the only two Assassin's Creed games that are fundamentally about the Creed. That's their entire focus. That's the entire point of their existence, is to teach you about the Creed and someone's relationship to the Creed. First it was through Altair and his arrogance, then it's through Edward trying to find a purpose in life. The Creed is the focus of Black Flag, and I'm not going to explain it all here, but I am going to delve into that when we eventually do that video. It's going to be good. It's going to be eye-opening. I can't wait. S tier. Assassin's Creed Rogue. My God. This game is not just boring, this is the first time I think they did something truly egregious. Rogue is a game that is so insulting to Assassin's Creed fans. The way that they do what they do, and they play it off like, oh, we're just doing a Templar viewpoint. No, you're not doing a Templar viewpoint. You're not, because the Templars in Rogue don't act like Templars. They're just assassins that are evil, and they're a bit mean. That's it. The assassins, they act like fucking Templars. Everything's just reversed. And there's no depth to any of it. It's fucking insulting. It's terribly done. It's not well told. It's not well written. Shay is not a character. I couldn't tell you anything about Shay. There's nothing there. There's nothing to him. They don't give you any information to go off of. They just have Shay do things. You could have had a huge opportunity here to have some deep introspective shit about why are the assassins bad? Like, why would someone think the assassins are bad? Let's delve into that. Why do they think that? Why would someone join the Templars after previously being an assassin? What would cause them to do that? What thought process would they go through? What are those two ideologies? How do you weigh those two up? They don't do that. They just go, oh, the assassins are evil, I guess. They kill people and didn't care. And then Templars are good, I guess. They're nice to Shay, so they're good guys. And that's the story. And like, I'm supposed to buy that? Get the fuck out of here. Rather die. F tier. Assassin's Creed Pirates. It's just... I don't know what to do. It's not an egregious game. It's just like a fucking boring mobile game. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Boring. It's just boring. It's just boring. Assassin's Creed Unity. Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, in 2021, you're not allowed to say this game's bad anymore. Now, I'm old enough to remember. I'm an old guy. I'm an old geezer. You know what I'm saying? In 2014, when Unity came out, it was so normal to be like, Unity sucks. Everyone knew it. Every AC fan knew it. Every fucking critic knew it. The game was fucking garbage. But in 2021, you're not allowed to say that. Because obviously the kids that didn't have any critical thought when the game came out, they're adults now, and they think the game's good. It's the same people that, you know, grew up with the prequel trilogy. They weren't, you know, old when it was out, so they grow up and they think, oh, Phantom Menace was good. No, it wasn't good. Still just as bad as it was when it came out. It's just your childhood. It means a lot to you. I get it. I get it. A lot of people grew up with Unity. That was like their game when they were growing up. But it's not a good game. It's a bad game in pretty much every way. There's some good aspects in there. I like the way it handles assassins and Templars to a degree. It's not very deep, but I like the way that they're represented. I like the setup for them. I like the identity of them. I just don't think there's a lot of depth to what they do there. Arno's not a very deep character, although he is likable to an extent. Unity is overall a pretty mundane experience that doesn't really do anything too egregious. It's just sort of badly written, mispaced, very buggy. Yes, it is buggy. Don't you fucking tell me the patches fixed it. The patches didn't fucking fix shit. The game's broken. The game is broken. It will remain broken forever. Don't you fucking argue with me. Unity goes in E tier. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. There's not much I can say about this game. It's just kind of boring. It's going to go D tier because it's better than Unity in a sense because, like, it works better, I guess. I honestly would rather play Unity than Syndicate, but Syndicate isn't egregious. It's just really boring. Syndicate's not really badly written per se. It's just kind of boring and like it's just so surface level. They didn't do anything particularly wrong. It's just boring. Whereas Unity is a bit more messy than that. So I think that's why I'd rank them there like that. Chronicles China. I would say Chronicles China was good. B tier. It was just fun. It was like a decent side scroller. I like Xiaoyun, so that's cool. Chronicles India, boring. Russia, also boring. Chronicles China was so much better than those two. India and Russia just was so boring. China was like pretty alright. Assassin's Creed Identity, I've never played, so that's got to go in the no reviews because I haven't played it. Never played it. Never will either. Assassin's Creed Origins. Now, this is one where my opinion has changed drastically since the game came out. Main reason being when the game came out, I wanted a particular thing. Now I no longer want that particular thing. A lot of people don't really understand that your mind can change in 4 years. What? But when it came out, you loved it. You fucking hypocrite. It's not really hypocritical to change your opinion on something over time. Being a hypocrite is saying one thing and doing something else in the same instance, not over 4 years changing your opinion on a video game. But whatever. Origins does a lot of things that I still do like. I still think Bayek is a banging character. I still think Abubakar Salim gave a fantastic performance. Egypt looks gorgeous, but it's not very much of an Assassin's Creed game. I don't like the RPG direction, mainly because it spawned Odyssey and Valhalla. I also think that the fact they told the origin story of the Assassins, and it's one of the least philosophical Assassin's Creed games we've ever had, is kind of ridiculous. A game that used to pride itself on philosophy. I mean, look at AC1, look at Revelations, look at Black Flag, look at Bloodlines. Those games delve a lot into Assassin ideology, Templar ideology, both their philosophies, the sort of warring factions. Origins just doesn't. It's so surface level. There's no depth to any of that stuff, and it's really disappointing because the origin of the Assassins, there should have been so much more. Like, how did they come up with each of the tenets? How did they come up with the maxim, nothing is true, everything is permitted? What does it mean to them, the origin of the Assassins? We didn't get any of that. It just was so vapid. It's really, really sad. And it's crazy because you get more of that stuff in Valhalla's little notes that you get, like the Darby wrote. You get those little notes from Aminet, her little talk to the English Brotherhood, or the Roman Brotherhood, I guess, where she's talking about the origin of like, what it means to be an assassin and what their creed means and how it's self-destructive and how you need to to always remember that, how you need to remember that within the creed itself is the seed of its own destruction sort of thing. I think that's all so interesting, but none of it is in Origins, which makes it really disappointing. Origins, though, is a game that I still have a lot to love in, although I dislike a lot of it as well. I think it's got to go in 50-50. Crazy that it's the same tier as AC3, but for me, Origins is just a 50-50 game now. It's a game where I think it's got a lot going for it. There's a lot that I like, but there's also a lot that I really have a lot of resentment for these days. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Valhalla is long. I feel differently about it after a second replay because I said this on a stream, but Valhalla relies on you having the mystery there. The mystery of who is Eivor, why does Eivor have these memories, how does that link to the modern day, what exactly is happening, and like what are these glyphs and all of these things, and it all sort of culminates at the end and you're like, oh, it's sort of paid off, right? But when you play it through again, there's not enough substance to any of it to make it worth your time when you already know the outcome. The game relies fully on mystery and not on actual substance for me, and so it loses so much credibility when you play it through again, because you realize that when you know the answers to all the questions, everything is so boring. When you're playing through the East Anglia arc, you're playing through it thinking, oh, at some point I'm going to get to know what happens next. So you're doing this legwork, like, okay, we're doing this side stuff here so that we can build up our base of operations in England, and then we'll move on and we'll find out what happens with Sigurd, and where's Basim gone, and how do they link together, and why does Eivor see Odin's memories, like, what is this, what's going on? So you play through these arcs like East Anglia, Nottinghamshire, Gloucestershire. As you're slowly getting through the game, you're working towards this endpoint of like figuring out what the goal is, what's happening. You're figuring out the story. But when you play it a second time, you already know what's happened. You already understand everything. And so playing it through again, you can fully focus on the dialogue, and you can focus on what's happening in the here and now, in the moment, and you realize how boring so much of the game is. You could restructure Valhalla, and I was going to talk about this in my big review that is obviously not happening now because I just don't want to make it. I don't want to talk about, you know, Ubisoft's newest AC game. I'm doing it here because I have to because of this, but whatever. In terms of restructuring it, you could keep like only a few of the arcs in there. You keep in the main Templar arcs because they're decent, you know, they're still kind of fun to play through when the game works. Your Londons, your Jorviks, and your Winchester, you keep those in. You keep in Oxenfordshire, Sussex, you keep in, fuck, I don't even remember this game very well. You keep in the main ones, you know, any arc where you see Basim or Sigurd, you keep those ones in, and you keep in the assassination arcs. Everything else should be side content. They should be optional arcs. There's no reason why you should have to play those. It does not make sense to have to play those. You essentially, to get to the modern day ending, have to play a bunch of side content, and it's really dumb. You should only have to play the Sigurd and Basim arcs to get to the main ending. To get to the Hamptonshire ending, yeah, you should have to do everything, but that should just be a bonus for finishing everything. And then in order to do the Templar ending, you take out all of the Templars, all of the Order of Ancients. It's just a really structured game that forces you to do everything and passes it off as main content when it's not main content. Valhalla is not necessarily an egregious game. It's not, you know, the one. It's a lot of nothing, and it's a lot of filler, and it's a lot of bullshit, and it's a lot of leveling and XP and skill points and stuff that I don't like. There's not a real parkour system. You can't really wear a hood properly. The social stealth is broken. The normal stealth is broken. The map is way too big. There is too much shit to do. It is far, far too long. The combat is silly and ridiculous and over the top, and I don't like it. The abilities suck, and overall, I also just really fucking hate Vikings and the way they talk, and it pisses me off every time I hear Eivor open her goddamn mouth.
Gold is good and battle better, but glory.
So I think for Valhalla, I will put it in E tier. I just know I'm gonna get so much shit on this video. Amazing. I love it. I love it. Assassin's Creed Rebellion, I did play a little bit, but not enough. We're just gonna put that in not review. And then the movie, Rather Die. So bad. So bad. And that's it. That's my tier list for Assassin's Creed, all of the main games and the side games. What do you think? Do you agree? I don't fucking care. Tell me anyway, though. Be sure to leave insanely long paragraphs on how I'm wrong. I will read them all. I promise you I'll read them all. So definitely take your time. Type those out. I'll read every single one. Trust me, I'll waste my time doing that. I promise you. But that's it for today's video. I'll see you all tomorrow for another Advent Calendar episode. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support so far on this Advent Calendar and on videos in general. It's been really nice. Merry Christmas, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.